Welcome back. It is now time for Legal Live. Joining for that, as always, is Tom Winslow from Goldfinch Winslow. Thank you for joining us
Thank
today.
you for having me.
As rock and rollers as we are, I saw this story last week, and it intrigued me because everyone has probably seen what we're about to talk about, and that is the cover of the iconic Nevermind album from Nirvana. On that cover is a baby who is nude. His name is Spencer Eldon, 4 months old when he took the picture, and he is suing the band now.
So he took the picture at 4 months old?
He did, yes. Very talented child.
Very talented.
Prodigy, yes. No, when the picture was taken of him, now 30 years later, he's suing the band for child pornography, saying he was not able to give consent to have that picture taken.
I mean, it's true, he was not able to give consent, but it's also 30 years later, right? And so this brings into question a lot of this stuff a lot of it came up last year, like kind of the Me Too movement, right? There's also the lawsuit right now going on with Bob Dylan from what happened in 1965. And so it raises these questions of how long can something come up and I don't want to say attack you, but be brought back up, what, 60 years later, 30 years later, and do you have to live with that every incident that you've been going on with? What you post on Facebook, what you post here, there, how long can it sit out there? Big question.
Yeah, and really just sort of the validity of it. You know, in this case, this album has been sold, millions and millions and millions of times over the world. Also, the photograph's been seen. Why is it 30 years later, right in this moment, that it's considered child pornography from him and his lawyers, and not last year or the previous 29 years?
100%. And the question of calling it child pornography is a criminal term. Right, that is a criminal charge that would be brought by a solicitor. It's not a civil case, right? So he wouldn't be able to bring a child pornography. He'd be able to bring a lack of consent, a contract, a use of imaging, stuff of that nature. So a lot of that would come down to his parents. What his parents allow to happen, as they were the ones responsible for that minor during that time period. It's kind of really kind of an open door to a lot of lawsuits. You think about all those calendars that have the babies in them, or just any kind of picture you would take of a baby. Most of the time, they don't have a shirt on, or maybe they're just wearing a diaper. How far do you push that slope into what's allowed and not allowed, and how long can you let it linger out there? Can you let it linger out there for 30 years? You know, it's a situation that you're like, why didn't he sue at 18, became an adult? Why did it even take him 12 years since being 18?
And he had interviews since then saying how iconic it was and how kind of cool it is. And just for the record, his parents were paid $200 for the photo shoot. So they kind of gave consent to take a picture of my child, who I doubt they knew it was going to blow up to what it was, but also they didn't sue.
Well, and you know, they were probably paid the 200 plus, got the free photos. So there was an agreement, there was a contract in place, which validates the contract. And at 4 months old, he can't give consent, but his parents can.
Yeah, and they did get a platinum record sent to him when it went platinum, just as sort of a thank you for being on the cover.
Really, it's more the time frame than anything else. It's
True.
Like, ooh, how long can this last?
Yeah, so we'll see how it develops. Maybe you've got an issue out there. Maybe you might think it's too long to do what you think. Maybe you're being sued or you need to sue. How does someone get in contact with you guys?
Always wanted to know about those time frames. So give us a call at Goldfinch Winslow, 843-357-9301, goldfinchwinslow.com.